what's up, Seattle? It's another episode. We are here today. I'm Nurse Nick.
I'm Lidia.
I'm Juanna.
And we have a special guest, Girmay Zahilay.
You said it right. You said it right. Love it. Good job.
He is King County City Councilman, as well as an attorney, entrepreneur, and advocate of civil rights. So, what's today's topic, you guys? What are we talking about?
The Rona.
The Rona.
Oh my gosh.
The Rona. So
crazy.
where did this originate from?
So it originated in Wuhan, China in November. They had the first case in November, but it really did not get publicized to the media until December. So that's when they started getting all of these cases, and the doctors were trying to figure out what it was, and it started getting really big. And all these people started dying, and then that's when it got to the media and it got really big, and they were like, hey, we have something serious, like what's going on, Right. So we actually had the first case here in Washington.
Seattle, y'all.
Washington.
Actually, Kirkland.
Yeah, so in all these nursing homes, and that's actually half of the deaths that we've had. So right now we're at 40 deaths for Washington State, which is huge. It's over 600 cases right now in just Washington State. So it's getting pretty severe. It's really scary with everything that's been going on. I know it's caused like a lot of fear for everyone, and it's just like escalated. So
and people aren't really sure like what the symptoms are. Like they're like, oh my gosh, like am I just going to get it and die? Really, it's the symptoms are going to be like a fever, and some people don't even have a fever. It's going to be a dry cough. It's also going to be shortness of breath. So those are the main symptoms that you're actually going to be seeing. And then if you do experience those symptoms, you don't want to just rush out and go to the doctor's office, because then you could infect everybody in the ER. You know what I'm saying? So you want to actually call your provider and then find out, like he or she will do a screening and see if that's something that you should come in for. So you want to like stay protected and wash your hands and give your provider a call.
So that's also something to look out for. Like, I know the media is putting a mass kind of pressure on people experiencing symptoms and you're going to die. But a lot of the people, to be honest, a lot of the people are probably young, have strong immune systems. The virus probably passed through you, or you have it and don't even experience symptoms until, you have the flu, or you probably will never. So I think it's also important for people to just do their due diligence with washing their hands, making sure, if you have guests, feel free to offer your guests the sink and the soap so that they can wash their hands when they come in your place and leave, just so that everybody is taking their precaution as far as just doing their due diligence and being safe and protected, right? I think that makes sense. How do you feel about?
I was just going to build on your point that about who is susceptible to this, right? As Nurse Nick was saying earlier, it's usually much older people and immunocompromised people who are in the demographic where it's a very serious illness for them. But on the part of younger people, our responsibility is to not spread it to them, right?
Correct.
So even if you feel like I'm not going to die from this disease, you could kill somebody that you really care about. And you could overwhelm the hospital system. So those are the two things that are really concerning. It could kill a lot of immunocompromised people, and it could quickly overwhelm our hospital systems.
Like it's doing right now.
And lead us down a really dangerous path.
And we have limited testing also. I don't think a lot of people understand that we've had limited testing, and we have to send out our tests to the UW. So it's not like we could test right at the hospital, and normally it'll take 24 to 48 hours before we even get the results back.
Wow.
So that's another issue too that we're experiencing. But what is business like? Because I know like you're an entrepreneur. Like
I think the hard part is that it's hitting home here really hard, just because the governor just said that you can't have events if it's at least 250 or more. And when you think about that, it's not just going to affect one type of business. It starts trickling down, and it's affecting everyone. So if you think about, okay, there was maybe like a concert. You're not just talking about the artist that was there. You're talking about everyone that it was employing there. Maybe the food stands that were there.
The vendors.
Everybody that, was a part of this big event that took months to who knows how long to plan, right? And then all of a sudden it's canceled. People were depending on these. But I think that we really just need to, help these smaller, small businesses and, do our diligence and, do what we can to keep ourselves safe and everybody everybody else safe, but we also don't want it to just become this huge thing and it affect our economy here, in Washington State. Because I know for myself, being a small business owner, I've had like a couple of events that have been canceled for myself, being a vendor. I had a huge event that I was really looking forward to. I got like, extra product. I got, I ordered all these extra things, and then it's, paid for the event, everything, which is not going to get refunded. It's been postponed. The event's been postponed, so now it's like you have to, wait and
because there's no set date.
There's no set date, and then who knows when this is all going to die out? You know what I mean? It's like we're still kind of like in limbo right now. But, and especially being the first state in the U.S. that's being affected by it, the hardest is because we have the most cases. Right. I feel like all the other states are kind of, they kind of get to watch what we're doing. So we're ground
zero.
We're ground zero, but we really, I feel like we're not having all of the things in place to, really get it under control fast enough. Because I feel like everything, so many people are right now they're worrying about how they're gonna pay their mortgage. You know what I mean? Things like that. Like people that work at the airport. I have a friend that works at the airport and their hours are being cut, and it's like everything else that's going on.
It's trickle effect.
Yeah, it's a trickle effect. Like the transportation that goes to the airport, everything else, so I feel like we just need to put some things into place so that this can just get cleaned up faster than what's happening right now,
Companies and toilet tissue companies.
What's up with the toilet paper?
I mean, paper towels, everybody else, they're chilling. They're
they're good. They're making money.
But for me specifically, I have an Airbnb business that I take so much pride in because I'm all about customer service, and I've had cancellations, and I'm a super host. So for me, it's I've never had a cancellation before in my life, right? My Airbnb little life, right? Yeah. And it's people, and then obviously I have people coming in from different places. They're a little older. I had a young lady, she's a young woman. She's I'm 70, my husband's 80. We don't know, we're, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's
scared.
They're scared,
so I'm
well, damn, I'm my little business is being affected too, and I know it's not just me. I saw, a couple other people, they have, and Airbnb has currently right now extenuating circumstance policy where they're issuing full refunds for people, regardless of, my cancellation policy. So I'm not getting paid, and everybody's cool, but at the same time, nobody's making money.
Right.
So it's one of those things where, you're grateful for a salary if you have one, you're grateful for benefits if you have one, but if you don't and you work by the hour, you know what I'm saying? You're getting affected. There was, and to speak into business being affected, and also goes into the school systems, kids that are not going to school, and that's one of their main meals, or a couple of their main meals of the day, considering their circumstances, that's an issue. There was the other day there was a post going around in the greater Seattle area of Amazon and Whole Foods donating free groceries. Apparently,
I saw that.
Apparently, I heard that was a hoax.
Oh,
so for things like that, I know.
People
and
had a whole address
posted
on
it.
there.
It was a whole address. It was a whole situation, and apparently it was a hoax. And I'm well, people were saying it was a hoax. Right? I didn't have to actually go.
Yeah.
I don't have a family, so I would rather families actually benefit.
That would
from
just be
them.
horrible if that was a hoax and people actually went.
Yeah, so it's just in circumstances like this, it's people are making coronavirus songs. Amazon is taxing on disinfectant wipes $100. Come on, you know what I'm saying? Everything is off the shelves.
Right.
But it's everything is being affected.
What do you think, Girmay, about this? So they own a business, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that own businesses. I saw that you had posted something on Instagram regarding a grant. Can you speak more about that to people?
Absolutely. So there are a few different levels of government that are providing relief to small businesses. Okay. The first is our closest form of government, which is the city of Seattle. The mayor announced earlier this week that Seattle's Office of Economic Development would provide one-time grants to stabilize small businesses of $10,000. So if you go to my Instagram, you could find the link to where the requirements are.
Shout out your Instagram. Yeah. You gotta shout it out so people know.
It's just councilmember.girmay. So
spell that out, please. Councilmember.
Councilmember.girmay.
Got it.
And if you go to the link in my bio, you'll find the link to the Seattle's Office of Economic Development, and there you'll see the requirements that you have to meet to apply for these grants. And there are multiple different languages if you have language access needs, but that's a great first start. It's definitely not enough. The federal government also announced earlier this week that they would have a small business / economy stabilizing grant program of, I believe, $1.5 trillion, which is really necessary, and there will be more information on that one coming up. I'll make sure to post that when they have more information, and I'm hoping our state also provides some relief at some point soon.
And how do you feel about, as far as like students, I guess they're out of school until April 24th, is that right?
That's right.
So what
At least.
What are these families doing who normally, while they're at work, their children are at school, but now that, they're not at school, like how are some of these families providing childcare?
Yeah, that's a great question. That one, so let me start from the beginning. Once I found out that schools would be closed until April 24th, I started getting lots of questions from high school students in the South End, especially Franklin High School, Rainier Beach High School, messaging me on Instagram saying, hey, I usually get my food from school. How am I going to eat moving forward? Hey, my parents have to work during the day and they don't want to leave me. How do we get childcare? Which are all super important questions. So I collected all their questions and I interviewed a school board member. His name is Brandon Hersey, and I did an interview with him 2 days ago where I asked him all these questions. And for the school lunch question, the answer is that starting tomorrow, the state and the school board have established several schools around the county and probably around the state where they will act as points for food distribution. So Monday through Friday, every week until April 24th, families can go to these specific schools between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. and get their lunch
That's
for
amazing.
free.
That's
amazing.
amazing.
Yeah,
That's really
it's
good.
necessary. It's necessary. And that information's also on my Instagram, which is anybody?
Council member at
Dot
Girmay.
Girmay. There you go. Yeah, you got it. All
We
right.
should put you on our Instagram. And then as far as like the child care as well, do you guys have something in play for that?
So when I asked Brandon, the school board director, this, he said that's one thing that they are still working on that they don't have a answer for right now. But hopefully we get a solution for that really soon.
Because I know they are providing free childcare for medical workers, just because you guys are frontline and you guys need to be at work saving all these lives. So I think that's amazing that they at least did that, because we do need people like Nicole, nurse over here, because you guys are frontline and everything that's been going on. With some of the behind the scenes stuff that that you've been
That I could talk
experiencing
about?
over there, 'cause I'm sure it's like crazy in there.
It is. So Harborview, which is like the #1 hospital in the Pacific Northwest, it's a level 1 hospital. They are inundated with lots of people who are just coming in there trying to be seen because they think that they have the virus. And so now they're shipping a lot of their patients to different hospitals around the region. And so my hospital, we're getting a lot of people coming in for that. And it's been crazy. We are short-staffed. There's a lot of talk about people coming in and like agency nurses to come in and help out. But it's just really hard because like a lot of times we don't, as providers, we're out the front line and we don't want to get sick either. And policies are always changing as far as like, what we need to do to protect ourselves and to stay healthy. So it's been very hard, very stressful.
I think, what do you say to someone that has been, like, let's say one of your friends, God forbid, was tested positive for the coronavirus, right? And what do you say to someone that's been in contact with someone that's tested positive, that's one, not experiencing any symptoms, and two, it's like, oh, I saw them last week, oh no, they got corona, oh my God, I have corona. So like, is it like that instant, is it that contagious, or like, what do you say to like those patients that they just come in and they're like, well, my friend has coronavirus and I was around them yesterday?
I would say to them, first, like, are you experiencing any symptoms? Like, what are your symptoms?
No, not experiencing any symptoms.
Okay, well then, if you're not experiencing any symptoms, then you have to like wait
it out,
and isolate yourself too.
Right.
Because if you know that you were around somebody who has the virus, that's gonna put other people at risk.
Right.
And the incubation period, I believe, is like
1 to 72 hours.
Yeah, so you want to just isolate yourself, and then if you do start to experience symptoms, before you run out into the doctor, the doctor, you want to just call and then let them know what your symptoms are, just to make sure that it's not something that isn't the virus.
Yeah. And one main thing I think that everyone's talking about right now is social distancing.
Yes, social distancing.
So by definition, y'all know I gotta put my glasses on. Y'all know how it goes every show. So social distancing is the reduction of human social interaction and in an effort to prevent the spread of an infectious disease. So apparently this phrase has been around for a while. I don't know if you guys know that. But obviously that's something that the media is kind of encouraging now, and you know, everybody is like making little jokes and things like that. Quarantine and chill. You know, all these
Oh
things.
my God.
It's real
Our
bad.
generation is
Twitter.
the worst.
It's Black Twitter. I'm
Black
telling
Twitter.
They call it Corona. You know what I'm saying? They said Barack come back.
It's funny that there's just no disaster that we won't make light of. You know what I'm talking about? Earlier this year when there was talk of like World War III, when they were just making all those Twitter jokes about World War.
I'm in World War III, like, they come in like, what? I ain't do it, that was them. Yeah, so.
Y'all seen those what is it called, toxic texts from Future, when it's Future like texting. Those are
my phone is not taking you out right now.
Yeah, my favorite one around this one was about the NBA being canceled. Did y'all see that one?
Yes.
It was like
she dated an NBA player.
Oh man, what did he say? He was just like, hey, the NBA being canceled just reminded me how I canceled you out of my life. I should have stepped up. NBA man.
Oh man, those are good.
Hate to see it. You hate to see it.
No, but no, Juanna brought up a good point. As far as like people thinking that, you know, if they don't have insurance, like they can't like call their physician. So MultiCare is actually offering free e-visits, so virtual visits online to anyone who has COVID-19, that's the medical terminology for corona, symptoms of fever, cough, difficulty breathing, or has been exposed to someone who has traveled to China, Iran, Italy, Japan, or South Korea. And if clinically appropriate, we could refer you to the COVID-19 testing. Use the promo code COVID-19, that's COVID 19, in the payment section. This is going to waive the $25 fee. And due to the high volume of submissions, response times may take up to 24 hours, but someone will get back to you. So that's MultiCare that's doing it, multicare.org. /virtual care / is where you want to go, and then they'll be able to screen you, and so you don't even have to leave your house. It's free, so even if you don't have insurance, it'll be something for you.
Can I share one more resource too?
Of course.
So if you're somebody who feels, if you live in King County and you feel that you have been exposed to the virus, there is a hotline that you can call for all the information that you need. One stop, one shop, and it is 206-477-3977. You can also, if you're also a healthcare provider with questions, you can also call this hotline. So
What's the number again? Tell them one more time.
206-477-3977.
Nice.
Yes.
King County.
Yes, and then also for Washington State, if you don't have insurance, I believe they've opened up the exchanges, so that way you're able to actually enroll. And if you meet the poverty level, you don't have insurance, you may be able to get free insurance. So if that's something that you want to look into as well too. So just Google it. I don't have the address, but Google it.
Yeah.
WashingtonHealthFinder.org actually. So you guys, do you want to add anything to the end of our show here?
I just want to, kind of talk about like how everyone's kind of just been comparing this to like other things, like other like the flu, right? They're saying, okay, it's like the seasonal flu has killed more people than this, or whatnot. So if some people are not, I feel like there's two people on this side, right? There's people that are not taking it so serious, and then there's the ones that are taking it real serious and kind of escalating like the fear on everybody else, like the ones that are really prepared and the ones that are
stealing all the toilet paper from Safeway.
They're the ones that are going to
Doing
the
photo
stores and
shoots.
stocking up on everything. So yeah, I did a little research, and I found that the reason why some people are taking this really serious is just because, of course, we don't have a cure for this yet. This is new to us. We don't know how, how it's going to affect. Right now, first we thought it was going to affect just the elderly, right? And it wasn't affecting the younger, people like us, our generation, right? But then, that NBA player, that's what, in his 20s or so, he got affected and he's young. And also they're saying that the mortality rate for this is actually higher. It's at 2% compared to the seasonal flu, which is at 0.01 for mortality. So since we're still learning about this, I just feel like we should take it serious and just take the precautions that we can, just of course continuing to wash your hands and just making sure that if you cough or sneeze or whatever, you cover it up, wash your hands, but just of course, and be mindful of other people. I like that they're limiting the amounts of toilet paper and everything in the house that you can take in the grocery store, because I went to Costco like 2 weeks ago, right? Because I come from a military family, and of course my brothers, I have 3 other brothers, they prepared me for things, right? And they're like, hey, let's just go because we like to be prepared. We get there and Costco line is like
wrapped around the corner
door before it even opens, right? So you get inside the Costco, and this was 2 weeks ago. Right now, it's gotten worse. Every day it's like getting worse and worse and worse because there's a new case or something new that happens, right? So 2 weeks ago, inside of Costco, there was a line for the water. There was a line for toilet paper, and now you're seeing videos of people fighting for this stuff, right? There's fights for things like this, right? So I just think that, we really just need to have like a plan in place, because it's just gonna, keep getting worse. Like right now, what is it? That video that you sent this morning, like how Italy's just handling it, and they're being no pistol. That was really nice.
Oh, that was Juanna. Juanna sent the video.
Juanna sent a really nice
video in Italy. First of all, Italy is totally shut down, locked down, like nobody in or out. Long story short, a lot of people in Italy live in flats or apartment buildings, and everyone is on their balconies. They got people playing music, they got people like dancing, they got a DJ that was on the balcony at nighttime and he was playing techno, and everybody was like in their houses, like, and so it was like within crisis, they were like trying to make light of it, just trying to have a good time. But
so do you guys think, like, I'm gonna ask you this, do you think that this could potentially happen here in Washington State and then the whole country like go into lockdown? Just because
that's a good closer.
That's
a good closing question.
Because I've seen that it's actually been effective. Like China did it, and their cases have actually gone down. They like they're actually like in the streets now. First there was no one out there. Now they're all back to, almost normality. Italy is now on lockdown, and then Spain. So like, do you see us going into something like this?
So I'll give 2 answers. The first one is absolutely, I could see it. The second answer is there's no current talks of that happening, because there's been a fake screenshot text message going around. Actually, there have been a few different fake messages going around, as you mentioned earlier, Juanna. But one of them is that, hey, everybody, I'm an insider with the governor and the mayor, and there's talks about shutting down Washington State and Seattle as a city, so don't do this.
no, don't curfew.
Yeah.
And, like, get arrested.
I have a vacation on Wednesday. Like, sorry guys.
Oh, we gotta talk about the flights.
So that's definitely a fake message. There's no conversation of that happening now that I've heard of, and the governor just tweeted yesterday saying there's no current conversation about that happening.
That makes me happy.
But that's different than could it happen? Could it happen? Absolutely. If we're tracking where Italy has gone, where China has gone, and maybe we are, that could definitely happen, because the whole goal is to contain the spread before it becomes overwhelming. I'm sure everybody has seen the curves of the number of cases over time. If number of cases over time within a very short period is super high, that's shutting down our hospitals. It's going to overwhelm our system. Many people will die. But if we put in protective measures like quarantining, like canceling big events, like everybody washing their hands and social distancing, the number of cases could be the same, but it would be spread over a longer period of time. So that curve is going to be more flat. So that's the goal, to flatten the curve, make sure we don't overwhelm our systems, make sure that our economy is not as rocked as much as it is, and hopefully that's what our protective measures right now are doing.
And with the virus, I think a lot of people don't understand. They think that, oh, if I get a virus, I could just take antibiotics. Viruses are a special category. You can't take antibiotics to cure it. They actually go inside your DNA, and then that's how they
damn.
that's how they replicate.
intense.
Yeah, they replicate. So the
Maybe
only
all up
way,
in your
yeah.
Personal.
The only way to cure it is for your body to make the necessary antibodies to fight it. Yeah, and so people who are immunocompromised, they don't have the fight. Their antibodies aren't going to be like someone who's young and healthy. So that, I mean, just preventative measures, washing your hands, like everybody's been saying, because there's no vaccine and there isn't a cure for viruses.
Right, or anyone with a chronic disease too is
Right.
more prone to get it, of course. Yeah.
Did you guys see that article where there were scientists that wanted to like vaccinate people with coronavirus for like $5,000 to like test it? Y'all didn't see that?
Oh wait, no, I think they are holding testing.
But they
or
were
something.
paying people like $4,500 or something to actually like get injected.
Oh,
Did anyone
no.
take up that offer?
What?
Because I know that is
First of all, it's not enough for my funeral. I mean, I did it.
That's just
It was
like
tempting, but
almost killing yourself.
Yeah, right?
Like,
it's real out here. It's real.
Seattle. Thank you so much to our special guest, Girmay Zahilay.
Zahilay.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
And we appreciate
Stay
you guys.
Rona free, y'all.
Stay Rona free.
free.